us your story, how you got into this and why you gave up working in the field of medicine to do what you're doing.
And as Carolyn said, my background's podiatry and foot surgery, not medical doctor, podiatry, but I was board certified in foot surgery, foot orthopedics, primary podiatric medicine. And in December 2010, Debbie Wetzler brought this to me, looked at the product first, saw what it did for my dad, saw what it did for other people. And I said, you know what, I had to get a job as a health consultant. I did not go back into medicine. I didn't want to start all over again. I felt like if I went back to that, I could do it, and I could do really well, but it felt like I would get there and feel like I did before. Like, there's got to be more. So I didn't know that something made out of salt water was going to change my life and have me make more money and have more time freedom than I could ever have imagined, ever, and be able to impact people. Like just Terry, I didn't walk into the ladies' room with Terry, but I think Terry's going to share. She walked in, I said, does anything hurt you? The quickest way to show people what this does is to put it on. It does a lot more than for hurting. But she came back in and you had an experience already. That's a kick. And you don't have to be a doctor to do this. I can teach a cab driver to do this. I just got back from the Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore 2 weeks ago, and everybody's the same. There's two things in common everybody has here. Well, a few. But we're all made up of cells, like you said. This is a cellular health product. And is anybody getting younger? We're all getting older. Well, yeah, because you're drinking. Those that are drinking, it's technically you are. But everybody's the same. So bottom line is why I got out of medicine was I wanted to have a bigger impact in this world. I was very limited on what I could help people with. And I had no freedom. I was tied to it, and I realized I was going to do it until I was 70 or 80, and then look back and say, God, I wish I'd done things differently. And the only way you can do a lot of things in this life is if you have money and if you have time. If you make a lot of money and you don't have time, what are you going to do with it, right? Buy a big house and live in a big house, but I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to take my kids around the world. And so that's why I ended up being attracted to multi-level marketing, network marketing, but I never found the right vehicle until this.
So why don't we share the video that we want to share with people? Because this is not simply a product. I actually hate the fact that they use the word product because it's a technology that is life-changing. It is entirely different. And we're going to show you why this even ended up in the field that it's in. So we're going to show you the story of ASEA and how it comes to be the company that it is. And part of that is why David was so excited to find the ethics behind this company.
And I'll just say the people that you see in here, these are the people that when I decided to look at the business, I said, I'm not getting involved with anything until this time. I want to meet these people up close. I want to know them. And you will see Tyler Norton is going to be a huge event, and one of the founders is going to be in Maryland, in Rockville, Maryland, January 18th. I'm going to Florida a week from Monday for the winter. I just go. I couldn't do that as a doctor, let me tell you. I don't mind missing the snow and everything else. But I'm coming back up for this January 18th. So is anybody already registered to come to that event? Yeah. You want to get a good feeling for who these people are? You're going to get it from the 7 minutes, okay? This is a 7-minute version of a 16-minute video, but this almost didn't happen. The man you're going to see here, when he first starts talking, Curtis Norton, was in charge of international strategy of a $36 billion company. And this company did about $126 million last year. In charge of an international strategy of craft foods. He's a traditional businessman. He's not a multi-level marketing guy. And this was going to be a business play. He was going to sell it to a pharmaceutical company. And this is a 7-minute version. The longer version, you can watch. The full version I recommend watching, but we don't want to take up as much time. So just take a look at this and you'll see how rare this is.
I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah.
So why don't we take a second at this point, because the breakthrough is the stabilization. The manufacturing of molecules has been around for 20 years. Okay, but the ability to stabilize them so that we have something commercially available and not just in clinical research is the breakthrough. David, why don't you explain why it's important for us to want to replenish them? And this is not supplementation. Replenishment is a different field. You can see the book there with the Redox Life. Dr. Narain Naidu actually was pioneering work in replenishments. And so there are 3 kinds of things that you replenish: lactoferrin, stem cells, and redox. In other words, these are things that we are making inside our body. Okay, and therefore they're very important to us, and not just supplementing. You might use blueberries in supplements, but we don't make blueberries inside of us. We might benefit from what they can produce, but we don't make them. So David, why don't you talk about how they benefit the body and why we would want to replenish, and then let's go to actually demonstrating with the gel.
Definitely, okay. The proof's in the pudding, right? I mean, having an experience is more important than hearing us talk about this. So Carolyn wants to get to, let's have the aha moments here. But so what Carolyn said is true. This is unique because what's in this bottle is inside of you. It's in every person in Charlottesville, it's in every person in Virginia, it's in every person in North America, it's in every human being on this planet. It's in animals too. How many people have pets? Dogs, cats, horses? It's in them. We all have it, but we produce less as we get older. Anybody ever notice any other things happen as we get older besides we produce less of this? What are some of the things that happen as we get older? Gray hair, less hair, wrinkles, slower healing from injuries. You get more or less diseases every decade. Yeah. So that's the key to this, because this is not a drug, okay? This is made, Carolyn mentioned it. What's it made from? Salt water. How many people read online, oh, it's just expensive salt water when they first looked at it? What are our cells filled with? Saline, salt water. And so our cell looks things like this. Oh, this isn't going to show up. The little thing doesn't. But the little bags of salt water. Better to turn the light down a little bit. Yeah, so little bags of salt water. Inside of the cells, we have the nucleus, and we have something called the mitochondria. Who's heard of that? The mitochondria is called the power plant of the cell because it produces a molecule that we burn for fuel. I'm not going to go into the science of this. There's over 1,200 textbooks on redox biochemistry, but this is going to be quick. Believe it or not, it'll be quick. Because some people like the science. How many people are interested in having an idea? Okay. So during the production of ATP, I was taught in the 80s, I was a biology major in Maryland and then at podiatric medical in Chicago, that we produced these little negatively charged reductants and positively charged oxidants as a useless byproduct during the production of ATP. So that was the only known function of the mitochondria in the 80s. If you look at the literature in the 90s, they started discovering, no, these things are not useless. There's actually a reason for these. And you would die without that, because that's what we burn for fuel. Our body converts our proteins, carbs, and fats into that, and we burn it so we can move our muscles, everything. These guys, we would die without those too. And that's where the term redox comes from. Can you see redox, reductant, and oxidant? So what is it that they do? They help our cells hear one another. They amplify the signal in the body. So the more of these little guys you have in balance, they have to be balanced, same amount of each, the louder the signal is. Now why is that important? Because when you have a problem in your liver problem, is it just, oh, I've got my liver's bad, or is it your liver cells that are bad?
Cells.
It's the cells, right? You get wrinkles. What kind of cells are those? Skin. You fracture your femur. What kind of cells are damaged? Bone. We're made up of cells. And when you have cells that are damaged by trauma or old and worn out and they need to be replaced, which all our cells do, except for a woman's eggs and the lens of the eye, those are the only cells of your body that you have your whole life. That's it. Well, men don't. Men have the lens of the eye, hopefully. But every other cell dies and it has to be replaced. If it just died and wasn't replaced, we would rot. We would just rot. But we don't rot. If your pancreas cells go bad and they die, and they didn't get replaced, if it wasn't producing insulin, what disease would you have? Diabetes. But we don't all have diabetes. Right? But we all have a pancreas that cells are dying. So when cells die, our immune system cells, which are like little ambulances in our body, circulating around, are waiting for a 911 call. Every country I'm in is different. When I was in Singapore, it was 995. Malaysia was 999. Back to 911. Okay, so 911, waiting for a 911 call to say, oh, David just had some cells die in his pancreas. David just smashed some cells in his hand. It's stinging. We got to go replace those cells, right? You ever notice how much faster the healing happens in children from injuries? You ever notice how diseases don't show up in younger people? Well, a major reason is because children have a ton of these. Like over half of their dry body weight is mitochondria. And they're producing a lot of ATP, which is what we burn for energy. How many people have kids or grandchildren? Do they run around kind of like maniacs? But they have unending energy. But they also, if they fall down off their bicycle or roll down the hill to make themselves dizzy with their friends, they don't get up the next day and say, take me to physical therapy. They just go to school. Why do they bounce back so quickly? Why do they not have so many diseases? Because they have a lot of energy, but they have a lot of these, and it amplifies the signal. So my pancreas cells go bad. Let's say I have a bad cell. Okay, these are good pancreas cells, this one's bad. The immune system's waiting for a call. Who's going to call to tell them that I had a pancreas cell die, or I fell off my bicycle? I don't call my immune system. It happens by itself. In animals, right? What happens is the good cell detects there's a problem that must be detected, and they call for help. And it's a signal that goes through the body. The immune system cells catch the signal, come down, kill the cell, dissolve it, get rid of it through the lymph, and the good cells that called for help replicate themselves, and now you have healthy cells. Now it happens with injuries faster in children, but you can't see what's happening in your liver. You can't see what's happening in your retina. You should be able to with your eye, but you can't see what's happening in your body. But it's happening. And the simplest way to explain it is that, God forbid, I saw Carolyn fall down and she's grasping her chest, right, and grasping for air. We're going to go up and check on her, but someone's going to pick up their cell phone, and what number are they going to call?
911.
Now, it's going to work really well if you have a good signal, but what if you don't have a good signal? You got a real problem. And if no one had a signal here, we'd be running down looking for the landline. It's the same thing in the body. The more of these you have, the louder the signal is. And as we age, after puberty is when we start going downhill. We start going downhill at puberty. This is that. This is exactly this. There's no difference. You can't be allergic to it. There's no toxicity to it. It doesn't interfere with medicines. This is not a drug. Because drugs, all those things can happen to you. You could be allergic to it. You take too much of it, it'll kill you. You'll overdose on aspirin. You overdose on any drug, and drugs you have to worry about interaction. This is not a drug. But when you're a kid, you had a lot. Okay? Now you're 20. Now you may be faster and stronger than you were at 10, but you don't heal as fast as you did at 10. You get a tonsillectomy at 20, you're not healing as fast as you did at 10. Now, you have this much, 10, the signal's still loud. You heal quickly, you don't have many diseases. In your 30s, the signal's starting to go down a little bit. You start seeing some visual changes. In the 40s, you start seeing some other things, usually some health issues, 50s, 60s, 70s. All you're doing when you drink this product is you are raising the levels back up and you're amplifying the signal. That's why it sounds too good to be true. You'll hear testimonials. People say, well, my sugar problem's better, or my vision is better, or I'm thinking better, or this skin lesion fell off of me. Energy. It doesn't work like a drug. It just doesn't work like a drug. It's like drinking water. It has so many benefits for your body. You need water. It's not like it just hydrates your cells. It's everything. This is a miracle. Okay? And that's the drink version of it. Should we lead into the... Okay. So we're going to lead into the gel because we're going to get to the good part here. They found a way to make it, turn it into a gel, and we're not going through the double-blind studies. You can see some of these slides are up there. This one right here. So people want to know quickly how this works. You drink the drink for 90 days. So 30-day money-back guarantee. You drink a bottle a week the first week, that's 4 ounces a day. If you don't see results, which 85% of people do not, 15 do, just double it temporarily, go to 2 bottles a week. There's a money-back guarantee for 30 days, so you don't have to worry about that. But take the gel and start by what it's marketed for. Okay? It's marketed for aging skin. The company sent the product to a lab called Dermatest in Germany. They test the anti-aging products. They gave it 5 stars, which is a maximum, with no toxicity. There's no acid in it. What's it made from? Salt water. And the gel has 2 other ingredients. It has a clay in it, so when you shake it up, it turns into a gel. And it has a buffer in it to bring the pH down. Because when they concentrate this, it becomes a little too alkaline for the skin, so they have to buffer it. But that's the only difference. Those are inert products in there. But what did this lab find? Well, again, I don't think I'd be excited about this business if this is all that this product did, but it's a nice side benefit. You know, my wife likes that I use it. I like that she uses it. I mean, it's just, it's a benefit. And for the entrepreneurial people, you know that anti-aging is a big business, right? That's not my passion. Okay. Do people use it for skin problems? We can't say it works for psoriasis. We cannot say it works for eczema. You know why we can't do that? Because that's a medical claim. And only pharmaceutical companies with pharmaceuticals can make claims like that. So, when someone says, I have psoriasis, will this help me? I say, I don't know, but I can tell you 3 words that you can't say about any drug. It can't hurt. And so a person has to make up their mind, am I going to try this? Just take pictures of your problem. If it gets better, hallelujah, it's a miracle. It's a coincidence, whatever, right? But when you get on the drink, you baseline everything in your health before you start. How many people either don't sleep well or sleep worse than they did when they were children? Anybody? Anybody have lower energy than when they did when they were children? Anybody have digestive problems, breathing problems, mood problems? You baseline all of that. She keeps raising her hand all the time. Baseline everything. Baseline everything before you start. We can't make any claims. The only thing we can claim this does is it makes athletes run faster and further. That's why, same reason we have more, even the non-athlete has more energy. We have Olympic gold medalists on the product. And we can claim it does this. Right now there's double-blind studies showing that it turns genes back on. We can talk about it if you want to. But here's the big one. As Carolyn said, you know, to wait until you have your aha moment to tell people about this, it's not really the best way to do this, but some people feel like they must see something happen. There's a way that I can have every single person here, if they did what I said, they would know today that this was real. And if they would like a better life, they want to find a way to make a difference in this world, they would see this as an opportunity. Not just to make money, but to make a big difference and have, because you know about something before everybody else. Okay. How many people know somebody that has something in their body that hurts them? Right? So when you get your gel, find 10 people who are hurting. It's a video called 3 times in 5 minutes, because all you're going to do, it's a 10-minute challenge, and you do this with them. And let me tell you something. Let's say they're all closed-minded people. One's walking like this, one's limping like this, one's got a cramp that time of the month. But I don't even want them to be open-minded people, because it's more impressive. But they have to be honest. They have to say what their level of discomfort is when they're starting. They put the gel on 3 times in 5 minutes, and at 10 minutes, they're dead honest, and they tell you how they're doing. Who here has an interest in helping people, and hey, if you help people, you don't mind making a ridiculous amount of money? Anybody? Okay. So those people, would it impress you if you went to those 10 closed-minded people, and in 10 minutes, 5 of them said, oh my God, what is this? They're jumping up and down. If it was 5 out of 10, how many people will be impressed by that? What if it was 7 out of 10? What if it was 9 out of 10? I'm telling you, if you're entrepreneurial and you listen to your brother-in-law as a cardiologist who says, oh, that's just salt water, you go do that and watch what happens. Not to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Watch what happens to almost all of them, and you will know that you know about something before everybody else. That's the power of this. And yeah, does it do this? It sure does. Those are skin cells. This is all 1 month. Does it do this? Yes, it does. Those are skin cells. That's day 0, day 28, 4 months. Just keep doing it. It's called Renew 28. It's 28 days. Generally, you see a change. But somebody said in Philippines, that people were just asking questions. There were 1,000 people at that meeting. Someone up front said, I won't say it with an accent, but you can imagine, there's not many people in the Philippines with blue eyes. You say, well, my eyes turn blue? I'm like, no, they will not. This is not the surface of the moon. This is my friend's head. But what causes that? Yeah, you don't see that in younger people, do you? Because the cells are getting signals to repair themselves. Take pictures. Can't say it works for scars, but take pictures. This is not a disease that's going to kill people, but you know what? I had it when I was younger, and I didn't like it, and it affects self-image of people. That's 75 minutes later. What does that? The women reported, hey, you know what? I think my cellulite's getting better, so the company sent the product back to Dermatest and it proved that it does. Pretty cool. So, in bottom line, you got one product that affects all parts of these bodies because it's all made up of cells and it's something that's in us that we had more of when we were younger. Light bulb. Now, that's not an incandescent, that's a fluorescent, which is going out of style too, but the original one was incandescent. Who invented it? Edison, 1879. Could you imagine Thomas Edison invites you to his house and he says, guys, I've invented something. The room is all lit with candles and lanterns. I've invented something that's going to revolutionize the world. No one's going to have to use flames to light their room anymore at night. And I'm standing there saying it to you. You're the group, and I want you to invest in my business. How many of you believe me? Why doesn't anybody believe me? Never seen it before. I draw a picture on the board of a light bulb and how electricity works, and I'd say, okay, who wants to invest? There was one way that I could have everybody give me pretty much any money that you have. I have to show you. So if we're sitting here and I say, okay, what do you think of that? Raise your hand if you want to invest now. Because you know something that no one else in Charlottesville knows. You know something that no one else in Virginia knows. You know something that no one in England knows. But you know it because you experienced it. And that's why we want to give people experiences with as soon as possible. This can take 90 days. Watch what happens to 9 out of 10 people in 10 minutes with a job.
We can give some other examples of
Sure.
benefits. Cicely, why don't you come on down, because if you heard what Dr. Silverman talked about, he said this is made of salt water. So she has an interesting example of another way you can use salt water, which you might not have thought about.
I didn't know about it either. I just tried it, because why not? I woke up a couple Saturdays ago with my eye glued shut from some sort of infection, and I thought about it for a couple hours. What can I do? I don't feel like going to the doctor on a Saturday. I have a glass eyedropper. I took some of the ASEA liquid and dropped it into my eye twice. Within 4 hours, it was gone, completely gone. I was fine. It was unbelievable. Blew my mind.
Was that a condition that you were talking about would have prevented you of being at an event because it's contagious?
It most definitely kept me from coming to an event. It was an event like this that kept me from coming. It made me so unhappy. And the only other thing I did that day was I took some of the Renew 28 and put it underneath and around my eye, but within 4 hours, it was gone.
Wonderful. We'll give her a round of applause.
And all you have to do is read the bottle, because in 4 ounces, there's 125 milligrams of sodium. You know how much sodium is in a glass of milk? 125 milligrams. A slice of bread has more salt. So when the doctor says, no, I mean, doctors aren't stupid, but you have to admit, they're ignorant. No, we're all ignorant. We're all ignorant about something. They may be They may be skilled at reading labs and they may be skilled at doing brain surgery, but they are ignorant about this. They don't know about this. And so they can dismiss it as salt water. They can say, stay away from it. You have high blood pressure. Let me tell you, if you have high blood pressure, just check your pressure every week for the first 3 months.
So let's just go back and see how the results are.
Okay. Who put it on? You put it on right on your neck, Minnie. What? It was an 8.
Yeah, it's like.
Can you stand up for a second? Just turn around. Because I usually bring people up front so you can see their faces. Okay, tell me what.
I still feel there's something there, but probably a 1.
Out of 1 from an 8.
Or less.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. I sit constantly.
Yeah. No, no
And
more.
no.
That's pretty cool. Give her a hand. Thank you. Usually when I'll do this, I'll ask for 10 people to come up because I know what the numbers are going to be. I mean, I did it in Manila, I did it in Cebu, I did it in Singapore, I did it in Kuala Lumpur, and 10 people. And you got to be pretty brave to do that, right? I mean, because it would be silly, and they stay up here. They just sit down in their chairs. They tell us what their level is all the way down, frozen shoulder, how high can they go, and then I just bring them back up and say, how can you do? And I know what I'm going to see. It's not the most important benefit unless you're dying in agony, but it is the one that opens people's minds. And if I'm talking to someone who has a child, say on the spectrum, and they're dismissing what I'm saying, and they're going to walk, God forgive me, but I pray that they have some pain in their body when I'm with them. I do. Because in 10 minutes, I got a 90% chance I'm going to get to that kid. I can't get to the kid, right? Jordan, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Who else put it on? Can't remember. On your neck, right?
Yeah. You know, I really didn't have pain, but I don't know, I feel like a looseness.
Loosey-goosey. Yeah. Cool, right? That's why she insisted. We get used to it. We get used to it. You block it out, but that's what, it's true. Even if you're with somebody that's not hurting, just put it on their neck 3 times in 5 minutes. It's amazing how people go, wow, I didn't know I could feel this good, right? Awesome. Who else? You put it on your knee in the bathroom, right? Yeah, Janet. And was it, Monica, was it hurting while you were sitting before? Did it hurt to stand up? Yeah, so it hurts while you're sitting, even sitting. Did it hurt more when you rose before or no?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Did you happen to quantify what the number was when you went to rise?
About a 7 or 8 it was.
Okay. And what is it now while you're sitting?
Yeah, I can bend it and everything, so.
How about if you stand up?
Yeah.
Easier?
Yes.
Are you glad we sent you to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Could I ask Jordan to come up and share? Would you mind?
Absolutely.
Jordan, you mind coming up and sharing? I want you guys listening carefully to this because we'll shift to the business side in a minute here. We're not going to really talk about all the nutritional products and the other things that they have. They're all important. But this is what makes this much more than just an opportunity. For those that you say, been there, done that, multi-level marketing, you're in a very fortunate position right now. Your neck feels better. That's great. When you find out what the drink does for you, you're going to thank God your friend told you about it. So did Dana tell you about it? Theo. Theo. Hi, Theo. See what she just said? My hero? Right? It's pretty cool. But this is what it's about right here.
Actually, can everyone hear me without the mic? So my son, some of you may have seen him, he was hanging out front disorder, and it was very frustrating for the longest time. Everything from speech delays, he would have, when he'd speak, he'd have these exhaustive like sounds like that, what's for dinner, right? When am I going to school? And we'd always just try to correct it verbally, right? Have him repeat it, right? Just trying to get it better. Really, really didn't work. His eye contact, engaging him in conversation, maybe about 15%. It was just kind of staring off into the distance, right? The fog phase. 18 months ago, sorry, I did this. 18 months ago, we put him on the product, and within 2 weeks, his U's were gone. 100% gone. And they haven't come back. In that same 2 weeks, his eye contact went from about 15% to 50%. I mean, Sarah and I were floored, absolutely floored. It's now 18 months later that eye contact's up to about 85%. The others are still going. And comprehension, being able to, for him to understand when you're talking to him, what does this really mean, right? Comprehension, not just conversation with us, but even as teachers in school, is vastly improved. Couldn't really put a number on it, but Carolyn was vastly improved. And he's now, in the normal school population, over 95% of his day.
If you've had an experience with ASEA, could you raise your hand? I want those of you who are guests, just look, keep your hands up for a second. Look around, because there's so many stories, and we're going to have time afterwards for you to mingle and mix and go find someone and ask them their story, because there's a lot more for you to know about. So at this point, we're going to move on to what drives us, for so many different reasons, to pay this forward. Everybody comes to it with a different desire, a different goal, and that's fine. It is whatever anybody wants to make of it, and that's the fun part of this. And so David's going to share both the impact of the finances, because we know darn well, right, that $500 a month is often the difference between bankruptcy and survival. That makes the most for a lot of families in this world, can be the huge difference. The big stuff people don't often even think about, but at the end of the day, the money only translates into something that means something to each one of you. And that can be very different. So I'm going to invite you to kind of share the vision of why this company is so different in what it can offer.
Want to click the lights? Yeah. Thanks, Carolyn. So we'll go through this quickly because we want to save time for people to mingle and ask questions. But before I even get to the money, let me just say we need your help. If you have no interest in making money, you have no interest in paying it forward, doesn't make you a bad person, you want to enjoy the product, hopefully you will at least refer people to us, because we don't know the people that you know. As a doctor, I can only help, one person at a time. With this, I can teach anybody to do this. You tell your friend about this, they're not going to keep their mouth shut. They're going to tell their friend, and they're going to tell their friend. And this I did not have as a doctor. I could only help these 8 people that you'll see here, but with this, it just spreads around the world. Literally around the world. I have 22,000 associates under me. I don't know them. I don't know most of them. I introduced it to about 100 people. Turned into 20. You can impact so many people around the world. And they're not coming up and thanking you for, you fixed my corn, thank you. They're coming up because you saved my life. And when I went to Asia, I just couldn't believe it. It was absolutely amazing to me. So, and because 90% of people struggle or settle, this is a fact, 90% of you in this room, if you're working or not working, there's a 90% chance you're either struggling financially or settling financially. Right? You may not be struggling, but you're probably settling with not as much as you would want. And I struggled. I didn't struggle. Oh, I struggled with time freedom. I settled with money, but I was making good money, so I was kind of trapped. So the question is, some people want to escape and some people don't. The beautiful thing about this is when you order the product, one way you can order it as a customer, money back guarantee. You can order it as an associate. It's $40 to join. You're in business. You don't buy product to sell. You're using the product and you share. We have live webinars every week you can plug people into. There are live meetings. You can invite people to your house. You'll get help educating people because you don't know what you're doing yet. All you got to do, really, play a video and throw gel on people. It's pretty much enough, but you get help, right? But the powerful thing about this scenario is the company spends no money on advertising. They don't spend money to pay Michael Jordan. They don't spend money on advertising. You know where all that money goes? To us, for telling people about it. So you tell your friend, every time your friend orders product, they have an auto ship program, they ship it every month, cancel it whenever you want, you're not obligated, you get free product when you're on auto ship. But Every time your friend gets product, you make money. Let's say they're a customer. They're not even an associate, they're just a customer. Every time they get their product, one case of product, 4 bottles, you get $25. That's pretty significant. Would anybody say no to having 4 customers, $100 a month just going into your bank account? That's called residual income, right? Well, let's say they didn't become customers, they became associates. Your friend tells their friend, and your friend, the same picture I just showed you. The point is, the other one was about making an impact on the world. The company pays you for all of this. Every time this person here in Charlottesville gets the product, you get paid. This person here in California gets paid. They tell somebody in Paris, you get paid. I started building this in Washington, D.C. We think globally with this business. I'll show you them at 34 countries, but you act locally. You can call people in San Francisco or New York or wherever. They go to your website. It's a free website. They can order the product. Money back guarantee. It ships from the closest distribution center. You don't have to stock it, right? But it spreads around the world, and it's not get rich quick. Anybody been to a network marketing company that started showing you numbers and saying, yeah, you can quit your job, do this? It's not get rich quick, because no one's filling their garage full of water filters like they used to do. Remember NSA? You know, great product, but they made you buy $4,000 worth of things, and well, you'll sell them. You'll sell them. You don't do that. You buy a product for you to use. That's all you do here. This is the real deal. I call it a perfect opportunity, and I boldly talk about this opportunity because I know 90% of people struggle or sell. I don't dance around it. People say, oh, you know, there's a doctor talking about money. I don't like that. I'm like, you know, quite frankly, I don't give a darn, because I know there are people that are struggling that need this. They need money. They're scared about retirement. They go into Walmart and they see somebody 90 years old standing there like, my God, that might be me. You know, and if you don't think financial stress affects your health, you're wrong. It does. So I talk about this big time. I used to kind of just 90% product, 10% business. I'm like, no, I want to show you the numbers. Why do I think it's a perfect opportunity? The first 4 P's of the 9 P's are product. Powerful product, perfectly safe product, proof fast product, patented product. Yeah, it's pretty important. It's patented. It's not a juice that somebody else is going to have. And you can't reverse engineer this, by the way. You know, we're not in China yet. I'll show you where we are, but we're not worried about China reproducing it. They can't. It's impossible to do what they did. You cannot figure out how they did this. It's like trying to put hot and cold water in here together and have it stay separate, hot and cold. There's no way to do that. That's like putting negative and positive reductants and oxidances in here. So what else? It's a purpose-driven opportunity. It's not just money. Powerful passive income. That's money when you sleep. You know, and I don't want to sit here and say, wow, well, look at the money I'm making, but I woke up this morning and I looked to see, overnight I made $1,500 while I was sleeping. While I was sleeping in one day. My son said to me, he said, Dad, did you ever think about how much money you make a minute now? Let me tell you something. I built this thing. It took time to build it, but when you build it part-time and you build it and it's creating this residual income that comes, and you're looking for people that are better than you, and you want them to do better than you, I make more money than my sponsor does. She's going to make probably about $500,000 this year. I out-earn her. So people say it's an illegal pyramid. No, it's not. You build a better business, you make more money. That's the way it is, and the compensation plan is easy to show you. It's run by principled people, proven support, training, and perfect timing. This is the slide I want to show you. For those of you that said you're interested in an opportunity, I want you to look at where we are. And this is no hype, these are just straight numbers. Okay, it's December 2019. The company's almost 10 years old. That's the world headquarters in Pleasant Grove, Utah. This is the Redox production facility right down the street from there. How many people have been in that building? Right? You can go anytime you want. You can go and they'll give you a tour. It's an FDA registered facility. FDA goes in there every quarter. It's like a pharmaceutical production facility. Line number 2, 3, and 4 are pretty important to me. Highly experienced, conservative, and ethical management team, which I didn't have in my other company. Profitable in the first year of business, which is pretty powerful. Uber's not profitable yet. Did you all know that? Yeah. Took Amazon a long time too. First year, increased revenue every single year, albeit it was not meteoric growth. That's what I'm going to talk about, the timing. And they're conservative. They don't carry debt. I was just talking to somebody in Malaysia, and they want to just bust into Cambodia and Laos, and the company's not borrowing. They're not borrowing money to do that. so they're conservative, okay? Here's the FDA registered facility. There are the saline tanks. Notice the blue floor there. There's where the magic happens. The salt and water molecules are ripped apart and reformed to produce the charge, reductants, and oxidants that are stable for 15 months. Yes, they make it out of Morton's kosher salt, and they make it out of deionized water. It has to be pure sodium chloride, pure water. Okay, you can't have anything else in there or it won't work. Okay, so from there it's shipped to 18 global distribution centers around the world. They're in 34 markets now. Malaysia just opened September 17th. So it's US, Canada, Mexico, 20 countries, 20 plus countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and I just came back from Asia. Singapore, it's in Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia right now. They've done over 700 million since the launch of the company, but this is the numbers. In 2016, they did 79 million. Remember, it grew every year. In 17, they did 84 million. Look what they did last year. If you think that's a blip, it's not a blip. They're going to do about 175, 180 million dollars this year. We have gone into momentum. We've gone into this point where there's enough people on the ground sharing this. Has anybody seen read the book, The Tipping Point? Amazing book. You already should read that book. And it applies. You look at it, you're like, oh my God, that's where we are with this. It's starting to go viral. Now, the production facility can only produce 800 million a year, right? So they'll do 180 million this year. But that's if it runs 24 hours a day. So sometimes when you go visit the plant, they're running it. Sometimes they're not. They're running it in batches. But if it runs 24 hours a day, 800 million, and a lot of companies can't keep up when they go viral, and customers don't get their product, and the whole thing implodes. When Verse Norton, who was in charge of international strategy of Kraft Foods, had it built, he had it built in mind that the day would come when they need more production. So they can put a second production line in there. And in 2 weeks, they can double to 1.6 billion. And we will go above 1.6 billion. You know, the only company that's ever done 10 billion in a year, you know what that is? Network marketing. Amway. Now I think they do 8.5. I mean, Amway, it's fine. I don't think anybody's going to get rich in Amway today. I think that ship's kind of sailed. But that's where we are. This will be a $10 billion company. Go rub the gel on 10 people and you'll know. I keep going back to that. So post-risk, what does that mean? What percentage of network marketing companies do you think make it to their 5th birthday? Less than 10%. Over 90% are gone by what would have been their 5th birthday. We're at our 10th, and the convention is the 10-year convention is in Anaheim in September, and there's a big event taking place in Dallas, Texas in March. Those of you who are interested in the business should go. If you're interested in the product, you're not going to care. You might be like me, see what the product does, and then you get interested in the business, but those of you who want to make money, just ask about the event in Dallas in March. We're entering momentum. And I'll show you, the last slide's going to have average incomes, I'll show you. So they pay us. This is what I love. It's so nice to have that. I didn't have that as a doctor while you sleep. We acquire customers that just want the product and health, anti-aging, athletic performance, whatever they want. And they pay us really well to identify, train, and support entrepreneurs who want a better life without having to invest $2 million to buy a McDonald's franchise. $2 million? And how much was it to join here? $40. It's easy to get in, and sometimes people don't treat it as serious as a business as it is. I'm telling you. The pay week ends midnight Friday. I know what I'm going to make next week from what I did over the past few years. 3.5 years part-time, 4 years full-time. It is worth it. It is really, really worth it. Here's average incomes. Now when I show you this, I want you to, this last slide. The median income in the United States, does anybody know what it is? Half the people in this country make above this number and half make below. Does anybody know what it is? Yeah, $62,000. Half of the people in this country, households, make less than $62,000 in a year. Households. So when you look at these numbers, I want you to keep that in mind. As Carolyn said, $500 extra, they pay you weekly. $500 a month is $125 a week, but here's the average incomes. Director enrolls, they enroll for $40, they're on product, they enroll 2 people. The average qualifying director makes $300 a month, residual income. That's a lot of money. I mean, it wasn't a lot for me when I was practicing, but I would not say no to $75 a week going into my bank account. Now, this level here is called, it says Ambassador Diamond Plus, and it says plus because there's 6 levels within this grouping, okay? So you, as you're building teams, you're moving, well, up, you're moving down here, but there's 6 levels. It's very hard for people to comprehend making $110,000 a month residually for a $40 investment, because you're investing your time, you're not investing money. But the people that don't understand it, they can't see that if you tell 10 people about this that are using product, every time they get the product, you get paid on those 10 people. But what if you taught them to do exactly what you did, and they each tell 10 people? How many more people are there now? 100. What if those 100 people told 10 people? That's 1,000 people. If those 1,000 told 10 people, that's 10,000 people. This is how it works. This is how the income gets like this. But a lot of people can't see that. So I'm like, all right, let's focus on this. Would this make a difference in your life? $2,000 a month residually. Remember, that's $24,000 a year, and half the people in this country make barely twice that. Half the people make less than $60,000 a year. So the cool thing about this business is I'm telling you the product and watching people succeed. My sponsor was bankrupt. Her husband came out of the closet. He was gay, left with 2 kids. She went bankrupt. Amazing story. Then she got a foreclosure notice on her house. And she was working at 60 years old, working as a waitress every day, 12-hour shifts. But she fell behind on her mortgage. Got on her knees and prayed. The next day her friend called her from Colorado and told her about this. It is the coolest thing seeing it change lives. So when people get to here, and they're like, they can't, oh my God, I'm making $500 a week, it's just coming. Then they can start seeing this. Then they can start seeing this. And this is real. I mean, these are real numbers. Does it happen for everybody? No, because most people are not motivated and most people are not coachable. If you're motivated and coachable, you can make a lot of money here if you want to. Last thing I'll say is this, because from my bottom of my heart, I mean this. You've got a product that's a breakthrough for humanity. You have an opportunity created by it. As powerful as this opportunity is, it is dwarfed by how important this is for everybody you know. I swear to God, it is very important for the people you know to know that this exists. If they don't, some of them may not be here next year. Some of the people they love may not be here 3 years from now because you didn't bring it to them. Okay, we can't make medical claims, but take the opportunity side out of this thing. Everybody needs to know about this, and I'm always honored to speak about this, and I really appreciate everybody being here. And next year at this time, get involved with the business. We'll all go downstairs and we'll buy a Cadillac Escalade.
Before we completely wrap up, I'd actually